I remember coming here for the first time and having to wear a hard hat and a high-vis jacket and steel toe cap boots, and it was a completely different place. It was unoccupied by its previous inhabitants, that being the mining corporation, but it was essentially a large construction site. But what MSC have done is they found an area that was degraded and say, you know what, we can transform this island back to how it was, back to how it should be. My name is Dr. Owen O'Shea, and I'm the Marine Research and Program Manager for the MSC Foundation here at Ocean Cay, MSC Marine Reserve in the Bahamas. The work we're trying to do here at Ocean Cay really is to address the historical loss of coral reefs. Coral is fundamental to biodiversity in the oceans. It's the most biodiverse ecosystem on the planet, along with rainforests. In the ocean, it supports 25% of biodiversity. Yet it covers less than 1% of the ocean surface. We have the ability to make a real change here. So right now we're going out to a series of patch reefs called Lobo Horis. It's the site of the original coral relocation. We realised that this was a site of high productivity, high diversity in terms of its fish life. We figured out of all the candidate sites for the coral nursery, this was the best one. So the coral trees are essentially, we call them trees because they look like Christmas trees, and the corals are suspended on a monofilament fishing line from these opposing branches. This allows them to be free in the water column. They're not subjected to processes that would occur on the seafloor, such as sedimentation. And a lot of predation, so they're kind of protected in a semi-controlled environment so that we may ensure and safeguard their survivability. And we've already seen incredible growth when we see a coral that is not only surviving, but is growing and is growing new limbs and new body parts. It tells us that the conditions are agreeable and conducive for the health of that coral. Today when we were diving, they were actually feeding. If you look closely at the corals, their polyps were extended and they were feeding in the current. This means they're healthy and they're doing well. So the MSC Foundation is the philanthropic non-profit arm of the organisation that has 4 major cornerstones, environmental conservation being one of them. And this Super Coral programme is the flagship programme that we're working on, not only to restore the reefs in this area, but to provide the necessary tools, education and outreach, upskilling, capacity building amongst the local communities to raise awareness of what it is that is important to us.
Even I, being from the Bahamas, I didn't exactly know how important this part of the entire atmosphere was until we came to the island and we learned about it.
The amazing thing about Ocean Cay is we have this footfall of MSC Cruises guests, several thousand people each week. To walk off this ship and see a turtle nesting on a beach, to see dolphins playing offshore, this is what excites people. This is what feeds people's imaginations. If we break it down to the lowest common denominator and say 1% of every cruise is going to pay attention, is going to listen, is going to understand, is going to try and do something about it, over a year, 2, 5, 10 years, that number does translate to a vast amount. We are seeing perceptions change about the reality of this island, which is fundamentally based in preservation, conservation, sustainability.
Being a Bahamian and moving around our islands and moving around the world, this is something that's necessary. We see it, but we don't really understand how important it is until we don't have it.
While the coral reefs are 3 to 5, 10 years away from being restored to how they should be, we are seeing results unexpectedly topside that are validating the investments that MSC has made to this island. And from a conservation point of view, it's inspiring and motivating to see that even the smallest efforts are yielding results that were unexpected. I've seen 2 species of owl We have pelicans that have returned. We have loggerhead turtles that are nesting on these beaches. The island just needed that helping hand, and that's what we've done. And there's nothing stopping us 10 years from now having thriving ecosystems, coral reef ecosystems around this island and beyond.